Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA. You might recognize this guy, my buddy Frankie, if you've ever seen the gray Buick G-Body video where I looked terrified because I was the entire ride. That's Frankie. You know, dude, I remember a while ago, hey, we're building this crazy E30. And now seeing it finished, this is the E30 version of your Buick G-Body.
Yeah, a little bit more refined. Cody kind of came to us with the request, and I remember we were talking and he's like, is there anything you kind of left on the table with the Buick? And I'm like, oh yeah, now that I've driven it, sure. Yeah, we basically decided to rent a C7 Corvette, and I'm like, this is a kind of a cool platform to work off of. We wanted to build a custom tube chassis. We're like, okay, what has a lot of support? What's known to be good? So basically it's kind of a C7 tube chassis under an E30 body.
God bless Cody that he was willing to go as deep as you guys all went here, you know. Here's the quick story, you guys. He brings it in there, it's got a V10 in it, I want to do this, da 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 da. And then from there it just goes deeper, 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 deeper. The last time I actually saw this in person was, it was still on your chassis table. So this is, I mean, for lack of better ways to saying it, you keep the body-ish, so we know it is an E30-ish.
Yeah.
But everything else is you guys building. Chassis, cage, da 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 da. Like,
we basically built it like an RC car. We landed the body on the chassis table where we wanted the ride height, and then Sam did his thing. Sam's just like, let's build a chassis within the body on the chassis table. So if you see, all the cage and everything's tight, super tight to the body.
yeah.
Because it is a small footprint of a car. I mean, the seats are almost touching each other. It's so narrow.
Yeah.
At a certain point, we were able to take the body off and on to get to all the welds. After powder coating the chassis, then we were able to lock it in, stitch it in, and weld in all the pieces. I remember vividly one morning, Cody came in and was like, I need to have over 1,000 horse. And we're like, okay.
We can do that.
And then that turned into what we have now, which is a twin turbo LS.
And I know Aquafint is his company, right?
Aquafint.
He was, by the way, you guys, this isn't a paid promo, but like, I'm kind of blown away. Check out his company because it creates water out of atmosphere. I'll leave you at that.
You know, I work with Wegner a lot on any of our boosted motors, valve covers, accessory drives. So I went to Casey and I said, hey man, we're kind of switching the course of this build. We were gonna go NA, now we're going twin turbo. And then Casey's more known for supercharged engines, but you know, supercharged versus turbo, like the engine build is very similar. So he's like, yeah, no problem, let's do turbos. And I'm like, all right, I want to do mirror image turbos. I want to keep them small so we could actually modulate the car. And Casey nailed it. Start block, Casey's LS7 heads. We don't really go to high RPM with this, but it's very valve train stable.
How damn far back is this thing pushed?
Ooh, the back of the engine's actually like at the midpoint kind of this dash, which enabled us for the weight distribution. It's kind of like a token thing of what we like to do in every build, create a more balanced car. And given that it's a C7, we wanted to place the motor at the exact spot of where a C7 is. The front of it is right on the center line of the suspension.
Yeah, yeah. All the plumbing, that's all you guys in-house, right?
I did all of that. So like plumbing,
you really?
Yeah, plumbing and some electrical. I didn't do the electrical on this car. Wiring by G did it with Wayne Potts. Unbelievable work, but yeah, I did all the plumbing.
And Kyle was just asking about this. Explain that again, the weld on the
So this, to create the split intercooler system, you could metal finish that. Sam wanted to leave it exposed because you could see the welding. But basically you have to split the tube to fit this diameter. So this tube here, I think is like 2.5 going into 4.25.
Oh, wow.
So you have to split that open to merge it. But this has a split intercooler system. So if you see, there's one liquid intercooler, another liquid intercooler.
Yeah.
And it's a totally split system. So even underneath the car where the intercooler pumps are, there's 2 intercooler pumps and it merges to 1 tank, but it's, for all intents and purposes, it's a split system.
What's the purpose of that?
Just to make it more efficient. This thing in extreme heat, charge temps will stay like 110, which is unheard of for like a high boost application like that.
Yeah.
Then you look down in here, we stacked 2 huge 34-row oil coolers together. Like Cody was just driving it in traffic right now and the thing, oil temps never got over 200.
How much power is it making?
A little over 1,200 to the tire.
To the tire. Is it Motec that this is running through?
It has a Motec dash, Cyvex ECU, Cyvex PDM. Cyvex is pretty awesome, very comparable to a Motec.
Is what I'm seeing for control arms, is this actual C7 stuff? Or?
Yes.
It is.
This is actual C7 upper and lower control arms. It has a JRI adjustable height shock system, so there's hydraulic cups in the front and rear of the car. It could go up about 3 inches and back down to this ride height.
Got it. But the whole time it's always on the shock itself, right? It's not an airbag.
No, there's no airbag, so it's literally like a hydraulic cup that fills up with hydraulic fluid, and it just sits there, and that's what creates.
So once it's there, you've got the handling never changes. It's just your ride height that's changing, and then I guess that'll impact handling at some level.
Yeah.
But
This whole car, it's designed to be eventually a time attack car, so the whole underside is belly panned. So there is like a false floor on top of the tube chassis, and then right under it is an actual belly pan.
So you got that, then all your chassis runs underneath, and then the whole car's belly pan front to rear?
Yep. And the front end, so Sam's kind of developed a way to take these front ends off with 2 clips. If you look down there, there's like a green lanyard. You literally pull that one quick pin out on that side and on the other side, and the whole front bumper just slides off. So you can get it on your trailer and whatever else.
Really?
Yeah, just 2 pins.
Holy cow, that's wild.
Yeah, he's kind of a mad scientist when it comes to that stuff.
So what do you go to? I know it says straight cut gears because I've heard a couple videos of this thing.
Yeah, so this Trans is actually, it's a 6XD. They're like the sequential to have in Trans Am cars and anything like this. Straight cut gears, internal oil pump, everything's pretty badass on it.
Yeah.
Billet case, I mean, it's like an art piece, dude. It's almost a shame to cover it up.
And then what's your rear end in this car?
Rear end is a quick change rear end, so we can change gears in about 10 minutes. It's nice to have that luxury of changing your rear end gear like that.
Right.
The final drive ratio right now is like a 411 with the way it's set up. You have the capability of going to like a 430 and back down to like a 380, I think.
It's so radical to finally see it in person. Is anything on the body left stock?
The only thing that's stock is really the cab of the car, per se. Everything else has kind of been grafted onto the body. Cody did have some requests of like, he wanted to take styling cues from BMW. So like the newer M3s have the carbon roof. So we integrated a carbon roof into the body. That was pretty cool. And then we blended the paint to kind of give it that smoke.
I love that. I love the fade you did on this. That's bitchin'.
Yeah, just little things, you know, but it's like little things. That was ungodly amount of work to graft that in. And then
I'll bet. How much wider front and rear is the car?
it's about 7 inches wider front and rear than a stock E30.
Got it. Are you starting with E30 fenders and quarters and then creating the flares?
You're starting with the E30 quarters. This is an LTO kit designed by Kaisa. Just an insane looking kit. It's like, if you were to take like anything you didn't like about an E30 M3, which that body is awesome, he just accentuated it slightly and made it like look the way it is.
But it's still very, very E30 looking. M3, you know, just obviously radically
to me, it's
flared out.
Probably like E30 M3 is one of the best looking cars of all time.
Totally agree. By the way, I love where you're dropping exhaust right here up front.
Yeah, side exit exhaust. All the exhaust Sam built in-house, the manifolds, everything is completely mirror imaged. If you look at one side compared to the other side, completely mirror imaged.
Yeah, he's a bit of a freak.
Yeah. To pull off this exhaust and to be able to street drive it, the exhaust grows, especially with turbos. So you have to have a bunch of flex joints in it. Down in there, you can see all the flex joints.
Yeah.
So it allows for flexibility and for growth. Wow. And then the turbos, it's kind of hard to see, but like this stud that's hanging out right here, the turbos are actually mounted to the chassis. And then the oil port goes through that boss that holds it.
Well, I'd love to say I understand that part, but you just kind of lost me, dude.
I think I lost you 10 minutes ago.
Well, the splitter bumper, is it all the Kaisa kit that's on this car?
There's some stuff that we had to graph in. So like part of the bumper, I think the lower part was some of his stuff, and then we had to graph some of it in. But most of it is the LTO kit.
It's a great looking kit, man. I mean,
Yeah,
it's really
amazing.
cool. Like the rocker treatment is beautiful. And obviously, with this car, I mean, I got to imagine this will come into play fairly quickly because this car's...
I wasn't an aero guy. I thought all this stuff was kind of silly until I started racing a few years ago. Aero takes in effect like 70, 80 miles an hour, probably even sooner than that. The car like this definitely needs it. You know, you're trying to catch air off the side of the car and off the roof. This is Optima legal wing right now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
What are the two different tanks I see?
So this one here is for the dry sump. It does have a 5-stage daily. The other side, we've been doing this thing because trying to find an intercooler tank that looks cool kind of sucks. Sam and I are kind of big on making everything symmetrical looking. So that's actually the intercooler tank that we chopped off the top and then welded in a radiator cap bung, but it just stores all the fluid for the intercoolers.
Wow, this trunk's just all about business, huh?
Oh yeah, it's stuffed. Every single part of this car is being used, every piece of real estate. If you look through here, this side is the diff cooler. So you'll see the fan right here and cooler. It exhausts through the quarter panel. The other side is the trans cooler.
Wow.
And it exhausts all the air out from there. And if you kind of look through there, you can see all the suspension. And then in that pocket.
Oh, that's so cool how you left that open.
We literally have 100 feet of dash 16 hose on this car. Between all the intercooler stuff, all the dry sump stuff. And in the rockers, they're like manifolds. They're basically these tubes that go through the rockers. For one side is the dry sump, the other side's the intercoolers. And they're all aluminum tubes with AN fittings on them to package them all tight.
What are we never touched on it? Brakes and wheels and tires and sizes and all that stuff.
The fronts are 18 by 10.5s and the rears are 18 by 12s. The rear has a 315 and the front has a 285. We could go a little bit bigger on the front. I just didn't think it was necessary. Just kind of like all the experience I have from racing. So like a 285, 295 for this footprint of a car is pretty good. So basically it's a 3-piece wheel. We could change the inner and outer. One nice thing with Forge Line, their hoops are a standard 40 bolt. Whereas other wheels are like a little bit off, so it's harder to get the hoops. Forge Line's awesome to work with. We love working with them. The fronts are a 6-piston Willwood with the snap ring rotor. If you have a chance to check them out, it's pretty cool.
With what?
It's held together on the hat with a snap ring on the back. So traditionally, like if you look at the rear, there's bolts holding the rotor to the rotor hat. This one just has a snap ring in there. It just makes changing rotors super like that.
Is that the whole purpose for it, is to make it a quick change on brakes?
Yes, and you don't have a safety wire every bolt together, which most guys don't. You should, but they don't.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'll bet there's a lot of safety stuff that gets missed out there.
Yes.
All right, dude, let's crawl into the interior here. I'm dying to see, because I can already tell from like the just initial look, it's all about business. Wow, you actually kept E30 door handles, huh?
Oh yeah.
It's like you kept, like even those mirrors, that's E30, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you kept a lot of the E30. It's pretty wild to go this radical with the body kit and that the E30 is totally visible. It's so obvious it's an E30, you know?
There's styling cues. So like Cody's had a lot of really cool cars, like little jealous of some of the cars
he was
had.
talking about some of them earlier, yeah.
But these are like more towards a Porsche, like GT3 style lanyards. Like Sam did the false floors and the aluminum pieces there. I mean, anything fab related, Sam and Ian did.
Sure.
Ian's also extremely talented. Shout out, Ian.
Boy, this whole, along with the engine, just everything came way back, huh?
Everything came really, really far back. You could see where like the taper of the trans tunnel is right there. Even behind the dash, everything's hidden. So if you looked on the firewall, you can't see the masters. The masters are actually directly behind the Motec dash.
Is it easy access to it?
Yeah, the dash comes out fairly easy. Surprisingly, it comes out within a few minutes. It has a Motorsport ABS, Tilton 900 series pedal box.
The Tilton pedal boxes are so bitchin'.
Dude, that 900 series is money. I love working with them.
Is the dash something you're able to buy? Is that?
Yeah, Cody actually sourced it from a company, I believe, in San Diego. All the different shapes in it, and you could see how they cut and then grafted in the weaves together.
Yeah.
That's really hard with shape, especially with carbon. They did a phenomenal job.
But it's definitely just all about business. God, the cage work in here is so wild. It's so bitchin' to now see it together, having seen it on the table, you know, and because I remember how much piping there is going on here. It's
If you look, you can see where we grafted in the carbon roof. You see like the square where it's like bonded. See how it's cut out? This is all the carbon stuff.
oh my God, that had to be a lot of work. Can you light it up so I can see what your dash looks like on here?
So it's pretty cool when you start it up. It actually has a picture of the car.
Oh, sick.
Little feature that Wayne did But like, dude's super talented. He's bailed me out numerous times. Just extremely smart.
Oh, wow. I just noticed your whole switch panel here.
Yeah, it's a race grade switch panel. So basically everything's run off of that. The hydraulic lift system, the pot switch is under there, lights, turn signals.
Is that you guys fabricating
the? Of course, Sam fabbed that up. Probably took him like half a day just to whip that up.
Yeah. Like how many hours you think you guys have in this car? I bet you got it pretty good.
Cumulatively between Sam, Ian, and myself, I would say we have a couple thousand. It could be more, dude. I don't know. I lose track.
It's so funny, I swear.
You're just like, oh, I spent a week on plumbing. Oh, 2 weeks on electrical, and then everything does add up.
Was it an E30 M3 that you started with, or was it just a straight up E30?
It was it started life as a 1989 325.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't an M3. No, we wouldn't do that to an M3.
Let's do this. This is gonna be fun.
Let's go.
It's gonna be fun. This is your first time really driving this, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, dude, the sounds are wild. Wow, brother. Bro, and he hasn't even begun to step into it. It's like, it's so mechanical sounding. The straight cut gears, the rear end banging, it's so mechanical. This thing's evil, dude.
Yeah, it sounds crazy.
Yeah. Holy hell, brother. God damn. So after watching this one for over 3 years finally come together and finally get to roll down the road with Frankie, just a blast, man. I mean, I'm sure you got some sense of how wild this build is. Obviously, it looks extreme, the sounds are incredible, and the acceleration, this is a seriously intense car, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this one because I just had a blast doing this one today. And as always, I gotta say thank you for hanging and watching what we do here. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Later.